This story was sent by a subscriber. They asked me to protect their identity, but to share every detail as truthfully as possible. I've rewritten the account for clarity and structure, but the events remain exactly as they described them. I never believed in metro legends. They always felt like stories made up by bored students or security guards trying to freak each other out during night shifts. But what I encountered late one evening has left a permanent mark on my mind and on my life. It began with a sound. Not a footstep, not a voice, not machinery. It was the rapid, sharp tapping of something hitting the tile floor. Fast, rhythmic, like someone sprinting using only their hands. At the time, I didn't understand what could make such a noise. Now, I wish I never found out. It was almost 11 p.m. when I reached the platform that first night. Only a few of the lights were flickering, casting long, unstable shadows across the cold concrete. The place felt abandoned, as if the last traces of human presence had already drained away. I stood alone, scrolling my phone, when I heard it. A sudden, crisp tap, then another, somewhere at the far end of the platform.
I turned my head, expecting to see someone running to catch the last train, but the platform was empty. My reflection stared back at me from the opposite wall, distorted by the dim lighting. Then the tapping returned. Faster now. Approaching. Eager. I leaned forward, squinting. Something shifted behind one of the concrete pillars, low to the ground, moving strangely. It wasn't standing. It wasn't walking. It was crawling. Before I could make sense of it, the train arrived. I stepped inside, relieved, until I heard the tapping again inside the tunnel behind us, keeping pace with the accelerating carriage. Following. The sounds continued every night after that. Different stations, different platforms, different times, but the same tapping. Fast, urgent, unnatural, always approaching from behind me. One night, while waiting for a delayed train, I finally saw what was making the sound. The tapping started far away, faint, but rising quickly. Then, from behind an old pillar, a shape slid into view. Not standing upright, not even kneeling. An upper torso only, pale, gaunt, dragging itself forward on its hands with violent force. Its elbows bent at impossible angles as it hurled itself across the tiles. Its long black hair mopped the floor behind it. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The creature's face lifted, its eyes milky and unfocused, its jaw wrenched open in a grotesque, silent scream. It lunged. I ran into the train just as the doors closed and the creature slammed into them with such force the glass trembled. Cracks spread across the window as its face pressed against it, mouth still stretched in that disturbingly silent scream. The train pulled away and the creature receded into darkness. But I knew it wasn't over.
The worst night of my life came soon after. I boarded the last train. Only a handful of people sat inside, half asleep and unaware. The train entered the tunnel and the lights flickered once, twice, and then went out entirely. Total darkness. Someone cursed under their breath. The train rumbled forward in the pitch black. Then it began. The tapping started beneath the seats at the far end of the carriage, slow at first, as though feeling its way forward. then faster, then violent. It was inside the train. The emergency light stuttered for a single second, and in that second, I saw it under the seats, dragging itself toward us, arms twisted, hair dragging, face scraping the metal floor with each pull, mouth still open in that same wide, silent scream. Before the emergency lights could flicker on again, it was already halfway across the carriage. I sprinted to the next door, yanking at the handle. It wouldn't open. Behind me, the tapping erupted into a frenzied assault on the floor, growing louder and louder. Something cold wrapped around my ankle. Its hand. I kicked again and again until it released me with a shuddering hiss. The door finally gave way, and I stumbled into the next carriage. Someone inside slammed it shut behind me. We watched through the window as the creature pressed itself to the glass. Its eyes were inches from ours. Its fingers tapped slowly and deliberately on the window. Then, just before the train reached the station, it slid backward into the shadows, melting into them as if it had never been there. But it had, and I knew it would return. I never used the metro again after that night. I switched to buses, trams, anything else, no matter how long it took. But avoiding the metro didn't stop the creature, because the tapping didn't stay underground. It followed me home. Now I hear it in my hallway at night, sometimes under my bed, sometimes at the window, sometimes behind the bathroom door. Always slow at first, always measured, as if it's waiting, listening. Last week, I woke up to long drag marks across my living room floor. The next morning, I found thin scratches along the bottom of my bedroom door. I don't think the creature is bound to the tunnels. I think it follows the people it chooses. And once it has your scent, your voice, your fear, it never stops. Right now, as I finish writing this, I hear tapping outside my apartment door. Not fast, not frantic, just patient, waiting. If you're listening to this, never stay alone on a metro platform late at night. Never wait for the last train. And if you ever hear sharp, rhythmic tapping on tile, leave immediately. Some things don't stay in the tunnels. Some things follow you home. If you have a story like this, send it to me. Someone needs to hear it. Someone needs the warning.